right. This is probably one of the most stress-induced episodes I've done in a while. Put myself out there in the front. This is going to be a standard episode, but also a lot of interview in the process as well. As most of you know, it has been my birthday these past couple of days, and Halloween was here. And there's a lot of cavalcade of things going on. But I'm your host, D. This is FTO Nerd Talk. This is FTO Podcast on the FTO Nerd Talk Network. Yeah. But I'm not doing this episode by myself today. Today I have a very special guest with me. It's my wife, Jessica.
Hello, I'm Jessica D's wife.
She's going to be here talking about the news, talking about everything else that's going on. I can feel the crowds right now. I haven't even submitted this, but I can feel like okay, all right. It's one of those kind of episodes. All right, I haven't had one of those in a while. We've done this a few times, right?
A few, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times. Every so often I go through milestones. I'm like, you know what? I should probably be interviewed. Who better person than the most biased person in my life right now? This motherfucker right here. So there you go. There's your swear of the show. That's my one swear of the show. I give myself a 3 grace. So that's for one. You will probably have a few.
We're going to blow through them.
Yeah, we're going to.
If it's a 3 standard.
Yeah, they're going to be gone. But, like always, let's start it out with talking about the news that's going on right now. I want to keep it the way it was. I actually did screenshots this time. So, we got that going for us. But I put this on. This is Planet Earth 3. You want to read the summary for this?
David Attenborough narrows the third Planet Earth documentary series that was filmed over 5 years. It originally premiered in the UK on October 23rd in BBC One, and in the US on BBC America and AMC Plus on November 4th, which means it'll air tomorrow here.
So, yeah, at the time of us recording this, it is the 3rd?
Correct.
Right? Yeah, the 3rd. A Friday night. It still feels like a Saturday, probably because the kids are not in school. But you are a big fan of Planet Earth.
Yeah, it's a top 5 sleep show.
It is a sleep show. It's so calm to listen to. There's Planet Earth. There's the other two. There's Sea Earth or Sea World. What's the water one?
I think underwater with your planet's dying. I don't know. The show is beautiful and mesmerizing, and his voice is captivating. But at the same time, it's everything you're doing, this won't exist because you're doing it anymore. So,
oof, that went dark. Took a dark ass turn right there. Good God, lady. All right. Anyways, next up we got Invincible. Season 2 is out. Someone sent me a comment on YouTube about oh, you didn't talk about Invincible. It just came out today. I didn't talk about Invincible. You're right about that. I will read the synopsis or the summary of this, but it's just a standard summary of the show. There's nothing new talked about in this. So 17-year-old Mark Grayson, voiced by Steven Yeun, is the son of superhero Omni-Man, played by J.K. Simmons, and as he develops his own powers to become invincible, he learns more about his father's past in this animated series based off Robert Kirkman's comic book series. It's the same synopsis as the first season. It's the same synopsis of the story itself. I watched the first 15 minutes of this. I fell asleep. I rewound, went back to it. I fell asleep again. I don't know what that means. Maybe I was tired. Talk with you about this. Rewatching this. Because I watched the Adam Eve also, and I feel like I can talk about...
what network is it airing on?
On Prime, on Jeff Bezos' home.
J.K. Simmons is in it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd watch it for him.
You haven't seen the first season?
I've never heard of this shit in my life.
Oh, come on. You've seen me watching it in passing. I'm sure I've gone through it 3 times already.
They all look the same.
Boo. I don't like the sound of that at all. They all look the same. Ridiculous. I'm telling your son you said that. Anyways, next up, Upload. You want to read this or you want me to read it?
I'll read it.
Perfect. This is a show. It's the same summary as a show. Just let you know.
After a near-fatal accident, app developer Nathan is uploaded into a virtual afterlife called Lakeside by his girlfriend in the sci-fi comedy created and written by Greg Daniels. We've watched this.
Yeah, we have. Like I said, it's the same synopsis of the show. That's why, she recognized what the hell it was. It doesn't tell you anything new about the new 3rd season that's coming out, which is October 19th is when this comes. So it's already out. Oh, shit. That's 2 swears. I got one more. Got one more swear. The ratings is low for this season though. 65. Wow. And
they jumped the shark.
I think so. Honestly, I watched last season. I would say it did. Me personally, because they went kind of meta with it and showed you something that like, okay, so like this is just like no consequence. These are humans who can do what they want to do. There's no consequences to your action. Like they can just keep on putting themselves in different fucking bodies.
So with like sci-fi type shit, I struggle because like a lot of times the writers will take a lot of creative liberties that aren't justified by the show. Do you feel like that show does this to prove a point, or do you think it stays within the world that it built?
I think the show wishes it was animated, and they just do whatever they can possibly do and let it stick to the wall. I don't think they do the over assertness of like of not putting good context with the writing. I think they do a pretty good job of that, but I think they can't figure out how satirical they want to go or how serious they want to go with this. They haven't found that balance yet.
Is it still cute?
I haven't seen the third season, so I can't 100% say that, but so far when I've seen the first two, yes, it is. They almost lost it, second season. I won't lie, they almost lost it. But yeah, it is so cute. Invincible comes out November 3rd, so it's already out. And the BBC comes out October 22nd, also already out. I think we got the Marvels. I really want to... Can I still say that? Can we still say what we can and can't want to see? I mean, it's SAG that's on strike right now, so not the writers anymore. I'm not sure how this works anymore.
I feel like we blew through all the rules. We're not supposed to talk anything about anything coming out.
Just let it go, right?
Yeah.
All right, Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Captain Marvel, has reclaimed her identity from the tyrannical Kree and taken revenge on the Supreme Intelligence. But unintended consequences see Carol shrouding the burden of a destabilizing universe. All right, this is getting to me already. When her duties send her to an anomalous wormhole linked to Kree revolutionary, her power becomes entangled. I think I cut myself off on this. Yeah, I did. It's a long-ass synopsis. Holy crap. All right. It's a new Captain Marvel movie. I screwed the pooch on the screenshot on this one here, but yeah. I do think it looks like something that a lot of people can get invested in. I think that's the most I can say.
It's a movie?
It's a movie, yeah. Gonna be in theater. And MCU, it'll bring back the MCU after they taken their little pause after the strike, yeah.
Hard pass.
Wow, it's like all women cast, like all women directed, mostly women written, and you're gonna pass on that. My word. That puts you on the spot.
It's like a $12 nap.
Oh! Ouch. Well, you don't like MCU films. I mean, for that, I don't really like MCU films, so I guess we're in the same boat. Honestly, mostly superhero films in general have just kind of been a snore fest. I'm just being honest. DC, Marvel, like independent, whatever you want to say, they all have been kind of like a Snorresville, if I'm just being serious. A lot of TV shows, too, if I'm really getting like down to nitty gritty. I saw this title, and I thought you'd like it.
Okay. It's A Wonderful Knife. After saving her town from a psychotic killer, Winnie Carruthers' life is less than wonderful. When she wishes she'd never be born, she finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where, without her, things could be much, much worse.
All right. I'm going to take a little second to see if we're actually recording. We are still recording, okay? Because that would have been bad. Usually there's a gold light waiting for me up there, but I don't see it. Oh, there it is. All right. Whew, that scared the fuck out of me. All right. This, I watched this. Just,
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah, it's definitely straight up horror. Comedy, horror, mystery. Yep. Comes out November 10th. So.
I would watch that as long as I'm not alone.
Think like it would be pretty intense?
I just don't want like watching scary shit alone. Especially when like what she's battling is inside her own head.
Ooh. That's pretty dark. Yeah. I saw the Willow. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. It seems like something that could be interesting.
All right, so this is Pencils versus Pixels. Pencils versus Pixels is a celebration of the unique magic of 2D hand-drawn animation and an exploration of how Disney Renaissance of the late 1980s and early 1990s led to an animation boom that was quickly upended by the computer animation revolution that followed. It's narrated by Ming Na Wen, Pencils versus Pixels features many of the legendary artists, I'm going to assume, of both Disney and Pixar, and all the people that upended it moving forward.
That's my assumption as well, yeah. And, like, you know, Willow was getting into, like, the different styles of arts and different years of arts, and, like, stuff came out, and I feel like this would be right in the wheelhouse.
Well, it's interesting, especially because we lived through it, like, a moment in which we went from 2D animation to watching something like... Do you remember seeing Toy Story for the first time? And be like...
This is pretty crazy. Yeah.
It was way more encompassing and engrossing than anything we had experienced as children.
Whew.
And now our kids think animation is pixels. They don't think of it as like
hand-drawn
Looney Tunes. No.
I mean, there was a point that John went through, like the pencilmation situation.
I do think it's like still captivating to them, but I don't think that like as far as like quality storytelling that type of animation can keep
the audience
keep their attention.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. That seems like it's hard to keep their attention on even big things sometimes. So no, I hear you there too. I'm going to skip past a lot of these comics because like I do have some comics. I got Detective Comics 1070. I'm going to read the synopsis. We got time to spare. We got at least like half an hour before we're charging our car in the parking lot. Because, like, doing these podcasts, that's the fun part about doing these podcasts. Like, it can be done anywhere. What else we got? We got X-Men 28, Hot and Heavy, Juggernaut's Inside, 28 page, comes out in Jan. I think the Batman comes out in December. That I'm calling out. And you saw this one, The Sacrificers, issue number 4. There's a small synopsis attached to it.
So, yes, I thought the cover art was beautiful and different, and it didn't showcase one giant superhero, so it interested me. And the synopsis is, we love to imagine that one day we will eat them, but they don't want to have to dream. They have what they want. We live on their scraps. The anger is rising. Sounds like some Hunger Games shit.
Mm-hmm. And there's the...
the writer is Rick Remender. Artist is Max Fiumara, and the colorist is Dave McCaig.
This is interesting because Rick Remender is a really good comic book writer. He did a lot of the X-Men stuff out there, but sometimes this indie stuff translates well. Sometimes it doesn't, but it does sound like some very Hunger Games-ish situation. But we're going to take a little pause from all of this and come right back because Jessi has some questions she's going to ask me, so let's see how that goes. All right, we're back. Nice little intermission. Cars are driving all by. We're having a good time in the parking lot still. I'm not telling you which parking lot we're in because that is a to-be-continued situation because they are not very many in our metro area. But Jessi has some questions she want to ask the head guy of FTO. And, you know, you're one of the head ladies of FTO, I suppose.
One of.
Ooh, right? We're live. What are you doing? You are the head lady of FTO. My goodness. You should see the way she's looking at me right now. It's not a good picture. But you have some questions you want to ask me. By all means, I'm here for it.
Okay. So, you just turned 40, and FTO has had a fairly big year. You were able to monetize your platform for the first time last year in a real way. And you were able to gain press passes into very huge conventions this year. What do you want to see moving forward for FTO?
That's a really loaded question, right off the cuff. Too. You don't say stuff like, "So, what's your beard routine?" Yeah, nothing like that.
I'm your beard routine.
Good God. First off, like we did like a monetization. It was mild, but it was still there. Like it felt really good to have it. In all honesty, and the cons have been superb. Even if I'm not like utilizing to like my best potential in my eyes right now, but moving forward, I would like to get a better camera and take photographs and do a printing press and get merch. Well, mostly shirts right now. Collaborate with some artists and just get like random styles of FTO style art that is exclusively only for FTO, for like to my liking out there and like mass produce. It sounds like, you know, the next possible step, like the next best step, you know?
Sure. And what does that mean for you?
How much effort you put into these questions?
A lot.
Okay. What does that mean for me? That's a hard question for me to answer. Like, what does it mean for me? The value I put into myself is not as great as it possibly could be. And that is a setback, maybe like a ripple effect from the imposter syndrome I told myself I have, or the self-sabotage I put into myself every once in a while. So that's a difficult question for me to answer. Like, what does that mean for me? Because I don't really know what that looks like for me. I am like the guy who lives in the clouds, who's go soaring in the air with Wendy and the Lost Boys and just wondering what's next. What's next?
So you were recognized as being part of FTO or the head of FTO in public. And I would like you to elaborate on what that felt like.
Oh, you mean like when I was actually like physically recognized? That was
not at a con, like
outside of the con, actually. Yeah.
Like at a store.
That was surreal. Someone recognized me, like, oh, hey, you're the guy who has that page. Like, yeah, like FTO NERD TALK. Like, yeah, like I follow your page. That caught me off. That caught me completely off guard. I wasn't as taken aback as I thought it was gonna be. It was like the first time that happened, but like, yeah, that was. It happened once before at the other job, I share. It happened there once, like, but it was like after a while. I saw him a few times and he said something to me, but like there, that was like, it felt intentional. I felt like it was supposed to happen, you know?
Was it gratifying? Was it solidifying? Was it, did it make you feel like you are where you're supposed to be at?
A little bit of the last one, where I'm supposed to be at. I don't think it solidified anything. I think like I could need more under my belt for me to feel solidified. But it was mildly gratifying. I think it's like the thought in my head was different than like how it actually happens. Like I haven't caught up with it yet, but I am grateful it did happen. I guess I just wanted it to be more. That's a me thing, though.
I guess when you are consistently churning out content for an imagined audience, right? Like they're not people you're actually interacting with and having interpersonal conversations with. Did it feel full circle at all to know that you are seeing someone face to face in the flesh who has consumed a product that you have put out there?
To be honest, yes. Like just to get it out there, yes. Like, and he was a black man too, like taller than me, full locks, and like just happy, like tickled pink to see me. I think I got his information. I'm not entirely sure if I did. I know I took a picture with him. I know that. I think I got his information too. So like, keep your eyes open for that. Like on Instagram and anywhere else. I mostly been posting on Instagram, but it meant that much that I had to do that because like the story goes on after like I talked with him outside. I didn't tell you this part. I talked with him outside. Then like I went inside to grab my items and I saw him in there again. And it was like, I gotta say something. Like, he's like, he recognized me. Like, he knew who I was. He gave me his name. He's like, he's been going through like a lot of tough times. Like, he's going to AWA, but he doesn't want to go to any other one because like finances are scarce at times. Like, I didn't want to go like into all his business, but like I just want to get to know. Like, he follows my page. Like, what is he about? What's got going on with him? And I go inside the shop and like I do all that, and it's like, I gotta get a picture with this guy. Like, he said he recognized me. It felt good. It felt real good. I guess I'm trying to be humble throughout all this, but yeah, it felt good to be recognized. It's been a lot of work doing all this, and like I wavered many of times. Like I've said on the podcast, I've said to you. I was thinking I said like last time I was at MomoCon, like I almost quit all this before we went to MomoCon last year. I was done. I'm not kidding you. And going to MomoCon, like, it sparked something in me. Made me want to do that more, but like my way. And being recognized like that, it felt like I've achieved that.
So that brings me to my next question. what propels you to keep putting effort into FTO? Monetarily, labor, time. What does FTO mean to you in this chapter in your life?
We all know the origin story of how I started FTO. Like, if you're new here, I'll say it again. Like, I'll be like Stanley telling the same story over and over again. I did this for my kids. Started out with Willow, and it just kept working towards John and Des, and just kept on going. Like, they need to be able to see themselves out there. Like, I wish I could have saw myself out there when I was like their age. It would have been nice. Why do I keep doing it? Like, it's other kids can see themselves out there too. Like, it matters. Like, to some people, like, who don't get it, like, may not seem like it matters. Even, like, to those who do get it, it's like their time is over. Like, it just needs to be moved on. Like, it does matter. Whether we want it to or not, like, it matters. It's a big deal. And I'm not the best person in the world. I'll be the first to say that. I can use a lot of grace and I give a lot back. It's a hard world we live in. It's tough, but someone's got to, like, be a little chipper, right? Be a little sunny. Even, especially if you're an adult, you got to be a little chipper, don't you?
Are you asking me if you need to be chipper?
I mean, people in general need to be chipper, don't they?
I mean, if you're asking me if you need to be chipper, I'm not sure I'm the target audience for that question because that's not in my wheelhouse. It's not in my capabilities. I think that representation matters, and I think that people want to be seen, especially if they're straddling multiple identities. You know, our children identify as Black and their gender is on a spectrum, and I feel like FTO has always been a safe place for people who identify as those things, and you try to make sure that anyone who comes to the page feels seen and heard and validated, and if our kids saw it, they would feel the same way. So I get what you're saying there, and it doesn't always have to be about the politics behind it. Sometimes it has to just be about existing and existing joyfully, and I'm not always sure if that's your true intention when you put it out there.
It's hard, like, especially like the existing part. I'm still getting the grasp of that, so yeah.
But I see it, and I think other people gravitate towards it. I also think it can be really thankless because it comes with fighting off a lot of trolls or naysayers or people who run similar platforms who are just trying to make a quick dollar, or gatekeepers who feel that they have a say on what nerdom should look like. I'd love your thoughts on this, but I feel like that FTO is a very unique and special place where the people who are there, they know their shit.
Right.
But they don't want to keep it to themselves.
You coined a phrase that counters that.
Sure. I don't remember it in this moment.
Neither do I, really.
You
said gateway is what it is. Like, they're the gateway, not the gatekeepers.
Yeah, for gateway, not gatekeeping, something along those lines. This isn't a question.
Okay.
But I'm not super heavily involved with FTO on a super day-to-day basis because I don't know shit about comic books or superheroes. Anything I've learned has been through you.
Okay.
And when I speak on something, I really like to know what I'm talking about. And therefore, I don't always feel like that this is a great platform for me. Logistically, I feel like I try to keep it alive. I feel like I could do better, but you could do better at emptying the dishwasher, so it's a horse apiece.
What the fuck? You don't take my husband? Are you serious? God.
And I wish that more places were like this, because when I do find out about where comic book characters come from or what the true spirit of a convention is, like, I feel like there's something for everyone there, and I really like how you have harnessed that energy into FTO. And I can see why you need mental health breaks from it a lot, because it's exhausting. So my next question, how do you practice self-care while running such a big platform?
Why would you ask me that question? You think I know the answer to that question?
I'm asking how you do it. I'm not asking the right answer on how to do it.
How I do it? Oh, okay. All right. This is sharing the secrets with everybody out there. This is how I do it. Like, no joke. This is how I do it. I open up my feeds every so often. Like, if I'm say I'm on Instagram, open up the feed, see what's out there. I just go into a dive, just like looking through her stuff, looking through who comments, like seeing like whatever kind of joy I can find through all of that. Like that focus on that for at least 4 or 5 individuals on different platforms, and I just sit in it. Like you told me how to sit in stuff. I just sit in it and just let it wander and let it go. And like I'll focus on my family. And I'll focus on like some type of art I'm trying to get into, or focus on some kind of new material I'm trying to understand. Like it's just sitting in it, and I'll go back to those individuals I saw. Like actively find their names, the ones I remember anyway, and just try to understand them, because everyone wants to be understood, right? The validation you were talking about before.
Sure.
Like the wanting to feel seen and belong. Like it's just.
So where do you feel seen and like where you belong?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
The answer's not a good answer. It's like it's at FTOs where I feel seen in her, like no lie. And like whatever it's like my personal avatar or like the FTO avatar. That's the only time. No joke. The only time.
So when people see the FTO logo, like when like you pop up in their stories or on their feed, what are you trying to invoke in them? Like what do you want your brand to bring to them?
It's gonna sound hokey, but like a sense of belonging. Mm-hmm. Like that you're seen. Like. Even if someone doesn't get it, even if I don't get it, like I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to understand like what you're putting out there. I'd like how I am. As long as you're not hurting somebody or hurting yourself, like do what you got to do. That's what really matters, right? So, I get it. Like I don't mean like to say like it's not hokey as if like this doesn't matter. It's just I'm not that kind of person. I'm not hokey.
No, definitely not.
No, but like. I get the hokiness, and you turn yourself around.
You're definitely not hokey. Like, you definitely didn't try to practice your whistle to cheer for your son when he won an award. So, like, hokey is definitely not a character trait.
All right. Just calling people out and stuff. All right. It's my kid. I gotta learn how to whistle. I can whistle before, but I get louder. He wanted that whistle. He heard it. You saw how he reacted when he heard that whistle?
You definitely didn't practice that for 2 days or anything.
I gotta take care of my kid. I love my babies. Is that all the questions? That's all you got for me?
I have one more.
Okay.
When people see you, how do they know that they see you outside of FTO? What is something that they could say to you to make you feel like that they give a shit about what you're putting out there for them?
I don't know if I should answer that question.
All right.
I don't know if I feel like it should be different for any person out there. Like, I feel like it should never be the same thing twice. But since we've been talking about it, and you put it out there like this, I'm pretty sure you have a reason for saying it this way, and for all the other questions you got attached to this. So I'll humor this question by giving a generic answer. I really like what you're doing with the program, but like what you put out there. Don't tell me how you should do it. Don't ever just. I'll stop myself there. I almost went down a rabbit hole. Just if you think I'm doing well, tell me I'm doing well. And if you think I'm not doing so well, just told me, like, I hope to see you at the next con, or I'll talk to you soon, or something generic like that as well. Just, don't need any negativity about this. This is hard enough as this. This is, like, really hard. It really is. Super difficult to do all this. There's your last swear. That's a fourth one. Ooh, I got the quad this episode. You got 3 under your belt.
I have no idea what you're saying.
The swears. This is my 4th swear. I'm at a quad.
Oh.
I think you're
forgot
at.
we're counting them.
I think you're at 2. You always gotta count your swears. Like watching broadcast TV our entire lives, you gotta count your swears.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I blow through them at work all the time.
That's how like the rating happens in the movies. The PG, the G, PG-13. It's all about the amount of swears that are inside of something.
I thought it was titties.
Well, that's. How tired are you right now?
Not super tired. That's what I thought it was.
Okay, just the way you said titties. Is titties a swear? Titties not a swear, is it?
I don't know. I feel like Olivia Pope said it, so I feel like I can say it on this podcast.
Okay, no, that's fine. I feel that. Just the way you said titties. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, I thought it was titties.
All right, my final question.
There's more.
My send-off question.
Okay.
What is the number one thing that brings you joy professionally?
Finding stuff. R&D. I fucking love R&D. I love research and development. I love it so much. Like finding new stuff, making new ways, understanding something. Oh my gosh, yes. That makes me giddy. 6 swears this show. You are a bad influence. Ooh. But yeah, that's it. Like finding new stuff, figuring stuff out. Yeah, such a nerd. God, I'm such a blurred nerd.
All right.
That's it?
The other side of that question is, what brings you joy personally?
There's a lot of different stuff. Hanging out with our kids definitely brings us joy. Going different places with you brings me different joy. Like the birthday extravaganza, I didn't even go into all of what I did, like what we did on that last podcast, because it was a lot of stuff we did. Apparently, I'm on an expensive date. Didn't know about that. That's new.
We didn't pay for it.
And all the other stuff that we're doing a day in and day out. Just seeing it.
So, like, new experiences.
Yeah, and new literature is also fun. Like, even if it's, like, audio literature, which is, like, just audio and not a book, but comics. I still got a lot of comics to read. So, I miss physicals. They're just so cumbersome.
Any questions for me?
I knew you were going to ask. I knew you were going to ask me that question. I just felt it. Like, she's going to have me answer her question on a podcast interview for me. I knew she was going to do it. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Well, I got to capitalize because I won't be back for another... When's your next milestone birthday?
I don't know, about 3-5 years.
Well, see you then.
I always offer. I offer her all the time to be on the show. She looks at me side-eye. I was like, I don't know about that. Every single time.
I'm not a private person.
Your Instagram says otherwise now.
Now.
Yeah. How do you like it?
Don't look for me on Instagram, listeners. You won't find me.
I can see if you just click it away, going right at it. How does it feel being like, a part of this whole FTO train?
A lot of imposter syndrome, because as I've stated earlier, I don't know a ton about like what makes a traditional nerd, like comic books or superheroes or conventions or cosplay. And like, I admire all those things greatly and I find value in them. I just don't understand them. And I kind of feel like the culture surrounding them has been formulated to keep people out. It wasn't until I met you and like you made this space that I felt like maybe there was a way in.
It's been bleeding over, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think I was in like the Batman movies and stuff were always existed, but
Right.
it wasn't until like the Peter Parker Spider-Man movies that like it became like an event, and I was in high school when that happened, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like a scene now, and like there's merch everywhere, and like, but if you wear it, like, you have to know, like, you don't really know. It's kind of like if you're into rap music. Like, oh, you like this song? Well, did you hear his mixtape from blah, 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 blah? And it's like, no, dude, like, can I just be a fan? Like, can I just like it?
You put that mentality out there, too. You put that, you kind of, like, help put that in, like, I just like it. That's all. I just like it.
Yeah, like you don't have to be an expert to appreciate it. So it's super intimidating.
No.
In that way. It's also very exciting. Ultimately, the things that FTO spotlights is just a cultural moment. Like, it's just a cultural touchstone. And we are in a beautifully painful moment where people are trying to live as their authentic selves, despite Ron DeSantis and Abbott.
Yeah.
And a million other people who we can't name right now. But to be a part of a coalition that is promoting people who live in the gray and existing in culture, and in their true selves is lovely and inspiring for my kids, because sometimes when they're not sure of who they want to be that day, it's great to have like some concrete examples.
Thanks, Kiff.
To show them. By the way, today John was eating a Honeycrisp apple, and he was like, apple, nature's toothbrush.
Fucking guy. God's that kid.
And I was like, how do you know that? And he was like, Kiff told me.
Kids, that's the show. If you got Disney Plus, you got kids under like the age of 10, check out Kiff. It's the show right now for sure. Okay, like if you watch it, my kid's gonna be very happy because season 2 is coming out soon, and I'm just gonna keep on keeping it going.
That guy refreshes the Disney Plus feed looking for a new episode every 4 hours.
He must be at that age.
He is desperate for more. So tell your kids to watch Kiff so we can pump up the algorithm and my son can have more episodes.
You mentioned like not being a specific type of nerd or not knowing what type of nerd you are. I've always put you into Politico. You like always struck me as a Politico type nerd, but you just recently, in the past 4 or 5 years, like become a murderino?
Yes. Which murderinos have like their own problematic sect, right? Like everyone is trying to out I don't want to say politically correct, but like all your favorites will eventually become trasherinos,
right.
And so it's like a difficult group to be in. But like vis-a-vis podcasts, I have found a really wonderful place in which I have found obscure podcasts and more mainstream podcasts that highlight true crime, which I love. I love a motherfucking murder mystery.
You got a few lists you want to talk about? List podcasts?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Give me a second to collect them.
Okay.
I like podcasts that talks about police incompetency. I like podcasts that talk about forgotten victims. I like podcasts that talk about like societal breakdown that allows for such injustices to happen. So when it comes to podcasts like that are wonderfully produced, edited, and written, but also highlight some of those issues. Things that come to mind is there's a podcast called Through the Cracks, and it's about a little girl who goes missing because her family lives in a homeless shelter in Baltimore.
That's not the one in Georgia, though, is it?
No, they live in Baltimore.
Okay.
It's called Through the Cracks, and she goes missing. Her family lives in a homeless shelter. It's likely that somebody who works at the shelter kidnapped her and likely killed her. But it looks at like homelessness and families that are at risk, and it is very... it just looks at a bunch of issues at once through one particular case and kind of how we could arrive at a problem like this, and probably a case that we wouldn't have heard of otherwise. Another podcast that I like a lot is called Up and Vanish, and
that's the one I'm thinking of, isn't it?
So that is local to Georgia. The first season was, and it was a hit. It actually got solved, but it was about a missing white lady. But the third season is about a missing Indigenous woman, and I found it to be incredibly well done. Indigenous women go missing and murdered at just a substantial rate, and it can't be solved for a myriad of reasons. Number one being that like tribal grounds don't exist under the same laws as regular land. Also, people don't give a shit. Also, like drugs and alcohol are a huge issue. And they have a spinoff now called Vanishing Point that follows missing and indigenous murdered women and try to solve some of those crimes.
Was it Kavanaugh? Is that the guy I'm talking about? The one podcast I keep talking with Ahmaud Arbery.
Okay, so yes, my most ultimate favorite podcast is called Buried Truths.
Is this what you were headed toward? Like you were okay, all right. Now, I apologize for that. I got ahead of myself.
So my most favorite podcast is called Buried Truth, and it is hosted by a guy named Hank Lebanoff.
Lebanoff, that's his name.
And he runs a cold case investigation unit at Emory University, and he looks at murdered people who were murdered because of civil rights issues. It's local to Georgia because he has his students research stuff here in Georgia. Most interestingly, he did Ahmaud Arbery. Obviously, we know who murdered Ahmaud Arbery, but he follows Ahmaud Arbery's lineage all the way back to the beginning of time, along with the people that murdered him. And it is incredibly poetic in how it makes you question who is actually American and who actually belongs.
Like a stark contrast you get to view on that show.
Correct, because at the end of it, no one is more American and no one belonged more in that region than Ahmaud and his family, and yet the reason he was murdered is because they said that he did not belong there. I would tell anyone to listen to that podcast. I don't think that it could be done any better. I really don't. He's a captivating storyteller.
You look like at least once every 3 or 4 months you're asking me like to check out a podcast.
Yeah, I would love for you to check it out. I also think it's more important for white people to check out than black people because black people don't need somebody to tell them about it, about how their history is ignored or about their trauma.
I didn't mean to insinuate like that's why you suggested I do that. Like I said it mostly because you told me like this is a really riveting episode that I could get myself in.
I just think it's, as someone who's very good at arguing, I think it's a foolproof argument.
Right.
And I think it should be taught. I think he's obviously won a lot of awards. I think he's won a Pulitzer. I think that podcast in particular could win a Pulitzer. I feel greater for having listened to it. I have had every white person I know that I think would ever listen to a podcast. I have suggested it to them.
A lot of them pick it up what you told me. Yeah.
So I think that murder is a fact of being a human. I also think it's a great jumping off point for understanding why people do the things that they do, and a lot of it isn't psychological. Like the psychological part of it is fodder.
No.
The deeper part of it is sociological. Why do we feel insecure where we're at? Women's greatest threat are men.
Yeah.
Why is that? Let's dive into it. So, yes, I'm a murderino nerdo.
So you got a lot of facets about you. And the last thing I'll ask you is, you are a very diligent mother. You are a very understanding mother, and you got some very nerdy kids on different spectrum. Our youngest is very big into pretty colors and unicorns. Our middle child is always thinking about something new and exciting, but never really cementing himself into one thing. And our oldest is all about the new greatest thing right now. So, like, how's it feel being like a spectrum mom, like with kids who are never set in one thing all the time?
It feels like a really great privilege. I feel like I get to just throw a lot of things at the wall all the time and see what sticks. And the best part of it is they get to teach me so much about myself and about the world around me. It is very much a top-up approach that I run with the kids and not a bottom-down approach. They teach me more than I could ever hope to teach them in a lifetime, and I am just trying to regulate them as we're learning together. It's exciting. I mean, everything to them is... I made a fort in the kitchen today because our son wanted some personal space, and it's on short supply right now in our house, and you would have thought I had just taken him to Bora Bora. So, it's thrilling. It really is thrilling to meet them where they're at And I know there's more out there in the world, but like they show me how much more is right here at our feet all the time. So that's how it feels parenting them.
Didn't mean to make you emotional with that question. That caught me off guard. So, you guys, wow. I'm glad you feel that way about our children. They're good kids, and you make them feel happy every day. This has been very interesting experience. You doing like this is the third or fourth interview we've gone through.
This is the third. We've had an intro, we've had an apology tour, and now this one.
That's right. Apology tour. That was a fucking rough one. Whew, that made my back hurt thinking about that. That was a hard go. It needed to happen, but my goodness, yes. So, you guys know where you can find me. Instagram is the place right now. Like, I'm not posting anything on anywhere else but there. AWA is going to be upset because it's only going to be on Facebook and Instagram. But you know what? The week is not over. We'll see what happens. Still got stuff moving. I love doing these with you. I wish we can do a podcast together, but I love doing these things with you. But like, since it's like on an actual segment with an FTO podcast, it feels even better than that also. But thank you for doing it. Thank you for putting that idea out there as well.
You're welcome. I love you very much. I'm very proud of you for building this.
You're just full of surprises tonight. All right. This is the FTO Nerd Talk. Wherever you find FTO Nerd Talk, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe. Quirkless Wonder did the music for this episode. Jessica Ruka has social media pages that you can possibly find. I just said your last name. Oh, my God. What have I done? I can't even edit that out. So, hopefully you guys didn't catch any of that. Don't rewind what I just said. So, she's cringing at me. She's going to be a star. She's going to be a star. Anyways, doesn't matter. Until next time, you guys take it easy. Hey guys, D here of FTO Nerd Talk. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends about FTO Nerd Talk. Got a lot of different shows for all of you. Make sure you tune in every week for a brand new episode. Take it easy.